boys? We're going on a road trip. This is a gamble. There's a strong chance I can enter that van and leave a severely different person. On the contrary, there is a percentage that this venture could really play out in my favor. In one timeline, I learned what it means to stare evil in the eye, and my worldview is warped into a never-ending nightmare to which there is no wake. But in the other, I'd have both a ride into town and the additional element of a sugary sweet to titillate my senses. High risk, high reward. Frankenstein's monster wants to teach your 5-year-old sex education. The curriculum is books of queer fetish porn. The content is very adult. There is a mandatory gay sex education tax. And if they decide to gender transition, there's a tax for that too. The classes cost extra because you're paying for colorized picture. There's a premium pigment on the drag queen's prolapsed anus. The schools were hoping for iPads so they can go paperless and save the environment. You know, because there's a climate crisis. Gotta be considerate. Anyway, your child ideally can study the caress of 2 bondage-clad gay men via 4K streaming tablet. Maybe at one point they'll just pay for porn. But the masses aren't ready for that yet. So far, the masses have only greenlighted porn if it's in a book. Here's an example. Although, our educators have hit some controversy because the contents are a smidgen mature. You know, the schools are real enthusiastic about the graphic aspect of it all. That's why they call them graphic novels. If your kid isn't probing the ball sweat of an adult horny man, are they really learning? If you don't want to be anally probed by a tranny, are you really progressive? In our progressive society, that closed-minded kind of attitude will get you canceled. Oh, driver man, you can drop me off here. I need to make a quick pit stop. Right now, I got 2 problems. I've just spilt raspberry jelly from my 50-cent donut on my shirt. And then, there's the pedophile elites running our world. There's a 0.03 tax on this here pastry. But I do have my member's card, so we'll knock that down to 0.02. We all know inflation's bad. We need that green paper, and that our paper's taxed. But how often does anyone speculate where it goes? Well, not to my shock. Virtually nobody gives a rat's ass. Because what do you care about 0.02 cents? We're all told it goes to some vague infrastructure, or a new rail transportation project, or other important nothings for a nation. But you'll never really know where the money you've earned actually ends up. That cost is so minuscule, it's almost forgotten. However, America was founded on rebelling against taxes for a reason. Every single transaction, every seemingly micro purchase has power. It's abnormal to care about 0.02 cents. But when every person in the nation involuntarily funds the biggest genocide in human history, we should start to care. Anytime you and I eat a 14-ounce baker's dozen, we pay a dead infant tax. We pay the checks of teachers grooming our children into fetishes. Right now, you're paying for some 13-year-old's top surgery. Huh. Strange. I just lost my appetite. Ow! There is no new thing under the sun. Humanity has a lot of dirty laundry. Historically, children have been the subject of ritualistic sacrifice. And even if you're not a Christian and what I'm about to say sounds like a bunch of jibber jab, please bear with me, because what I'm about to say will be more important context for later. There are two biblical accounts of notable cult leaders who assumed a position as a false god by the names of Baal and Moloch. Leviticus 18:21 says, "Do not permit any of your children to be offered as a sacrifice to Moloch, for you must not bring shame on the name of your God. I am the Lord. Don't give any of your children to be burned in the sacrifice to the god Moloch, an act of sheer blasphemy of your God." So, an ancient group of people called the Canaanites would ritualistically sacrifice their children to massive idol statues of Moloch. Baal, I don't know how to say it, sorry, was an all-encompassing term, meaning master, for many false idols throughout the Holy Land. Similarly, various cults would worship a master, Baal of Peor. Numbers 25:3 says, "In this way Israel joined the worship of Baal of Peor, causing the Lord's anger to blaze against his people." God instructed Abraham not to sacrifice his son, contrast to the pagan cults of the land, implying that they routinely killed their children in offerings to their Baal. Well, as they say, history repeats itself. This all may sound batshit insane, and if it does, great, because apparently these practices are in the interests of our leaders. Looking at our modern day, these historical idols still hold prominence. It's not hard to stumble upon modern accounts of very bizarre displays coming from celebrities and politicians, whether that be in architecture, art, social gatherings. We see them worshiping massive idols or practicing ancient tradition. We see in government buildings statues of satanic figures. Regularly, we see the elites dressed in robes, imitating the likeness of demons, erecting satanic monuments, or praising massive effigies. And to me, one of the most unforgettable, publicly known rituals was Bohemian Grove. Many of its members were prominent leaders. For several decades, dating back to 100 years ago, presidents would attend this gathering. They're all seen dancing like maniacs, nude. Your leaders, the people governing your laws designed to protect your society, are running around, burning statues, making sacrifices, completely nude. If you regard your nation, your people, or your family, that certainly should call for some concern. Well, I'm taking you somewhere you may not want to go. Ever since Alex Jones exposed Bohemian Grove long ago, the cabal has since moved their slumber party to an indiscriminate location. You and I, my comrade, are on our way to disrupt their little party, and tonight there's going to be an apparent human sacrifice. It is my goal to distract the evil elites and swap out their sacrifice with the decoy. I was considering instead perhaps a smoked ham. Anyway, we're burning daylight. We don't have much time. Let's go! Ah. This place reeks. Damn it. That's the third time this night. The worst influencers come here. Celebrities and politicians alike come to drug and prey on college students. And of course, they come here for the talent. Am I allowed? Am I allowed in there? Oh shit. I love Purple Rain. What do you call a TikTok feminist who dated minorities because her rich dad didn't approve? Single mother. Ugh. This place is a consequence of a fatherless society. A cesspool of drag children performances. No real men come here. Only gays and women. When a woman doesn't have a husband, she kind of just goes berserk, and her children are collateral. They're real fond of control. They like forcing their sons into dresses because the prospect of masculinity enrages them. To single moms, their children are like little guinea pigs to be tested on. They can poke and prod at their kids like they're weak little lab rats, born to have inhumane science experiments conducted on them. A single mother enjoys hormone therapy. The end goal, removing a few reproductive organs, switching up their identity, playing God. Bored, unlovable women do a lot of psychological warfare. Their hobbies are gaslighting 8-year-olds into gender transitioning for TikTok. The end goal is getting a show and walking on the Hollywood red carpet. I wonder if she's getting transitioned tonight. Time to go. Woo! What talent!
I agree. But who are you?
Tisk tisk. You owe me a drink for not recognizing the mayor of this town.
This town already has a mayor.
Had. They arrested him on account of cheese pizza. But I'm connected with the Rothschilds, so they voted me in.
Sounds right.
Gosh, I can't believe they just won't let us politicians be ourselves. Now since I'm in office, I'm gonna change some laws. I saw Hunter's laptop and Ashley's diary. I know your Biden friends think that the age of consent is a thorn. So, I'll push some papers. The public are going to get used to the new normal whether they like it or not.
I think I like your style, but I want to be sure you're the real deal. Bartender, 2 of my favorites, you know the ones, and make it extra special. What's wrong, Mayor? Nervous first day on the job?
I just thought it looked a little weak. To us. Yep, this old place, yeah. Nah, yeah, I've been here. It's hell. Yep, this is my kind of environment. Nothing absurd or out of the ordinary in here.
Here we can be comfortable in our true form. That means you, Mrs. Obama.
That's Mitchell to you.
Go ahead, Lotus. Let loose.
You know, I'm a little actually body insecure, so I'm just gonna keep my flesh suit on. But you guys make yourself at home. Is what I would say if I was a human. The mortals are gonna hate that. You look spooky. Yep. This is normal. This is us. This is how we do things. This is what we look like. I knew that.
And then I tweeted, Elliot Page looks great in a pantsuit.
You devil. Lotus, you're such a fine addition to our clan. We would love to have you at our get-together tomorrow. It's a sort of party. Just don't tell a soul, or we'll eat yours.
Bye now. See that? Yes. I did it. Tomorrow I'm gonna go there, and I'm taking their evil plans down. But, how do I get out of here? Oh. How do people live like this daily? I need a mint. These hellholes are no place for adults, let alone children. Substance abuse and date rape have always been a terrifying aspect of these clubs. And to think it's more common for children to make appearances in the night scene is very upsetting. The amount of child abuse that's permissible in society is disgusting. The atmosphere in clubs and bars is incredibly sexually explicit. The advanced adult themes are like poison to the minds of young children. Kids are incredibly innocent and need extra protection. Their minds are still developing, so it's very wrong to corrupt and pervert them before they can comprehend it. People argue that kids can have their own opinions, and I don't disagree, but it is fact that children are legally incompetent to give consent. It is against the law for children to engage in sexual activity because their brain hasn't developed the capability of decision making yet. It is an impossibility for a child's mind to grasp the gravity of their decisions. So to claim a child is willingly participating in advanced adult activities, such as sexual fetishes, sexual preferences, and so on, is completely false. If a kid appears to consent, that just means they've been manipulated by an abusive adult who's told them they can. Grown men and women, knowing their vulnerabilities, sexually exploit them. There is a normalization within our culture with the adultification of children. It's in the news, it's in the media. It's hard to go a day without seeing our children being exploited in some kind of way. And the celebrities that everyone loves and praises perpetuating this idea should be extremely alarming. Every other celebrity seems to have a trans kid. People may argue the kids really do have gender dysphoria. And I don't really believe it, but let's just say maybe some do. But certainly not every single celebrity's kid. It feels a little too convenient. The media attention, adoration celebrities get for making their son wear a dress is very high. Society rewards them for manipulating their children. So why wouldn't they? And lately, there's been a spike in trans kids. Almost like a trend. But why? A child should have no sexual opinions because they shouldn't be aware of sex. This is very disgusting for me to say, but an outer source has to expose children to sex, which of course perverts and corrupts the kids, feeding them ideas of sex and how they need to feel towards it. And it certainly doesn't help that the media brainwashes their young minds and perverts them. It is impossible to escape pornography. It's everywhere online, everywhere on TV, everywhere in advertisements, even walking in public. Even parents who do their best to give their children freedom, but also protect them, are struggling. Not to mention, every other child has a screen addiction. Kids now are constantly playing games or watching shows that have sexual themes. They are witnessing incredibly vulgar fetishes while their mind is still developing. Can you imagine how fucked up they'll be when they grow up? Mental unhealth is at an all-time high, and it's only going to accelerate from here. It's so unfair. Kids are so sweet and so kind. They are gentle, they are helpless, and there are vicious, evil demons trying everything in their power to tarnish their innocence and rob them of their peace. There are calculated predators working very hard to manipulate and poison the minds of our kids. They are developing new schemes to lure our unborn children as we speak. They want to destroy them before they even have a chance. And as the adults in their world, we do have the capacity to understand our decisions. So it is time for us to take responsibility and protect those who can't protect themselves. I hate my life. Let's get the fuck out of here. All this pedophile hunting makes me tired. Let's take a 15 right here. There's no question that the elites are pedophiles. Numerous accounts of celebrities and politicians alike have surfaced harming children. Epstein's Island being one of the most unforgettable truths exposed so far. And we still don't even know the full truth of that case. But there are major instances of influential pedophiles still. Hunter Biden, the president's son, had a laptop leak with underage girls, including his niece, performing sexual acts. It's shameful to live in a nation where there's no penalty for these wicked leaders. Where are those presidential assassins when we need them? Recently, I watched Sound of Freedom, which I highly recommend. That movie actually inspired me to come back to YouTube to make this video, because it's clear that child sexual trafficking is at an all-time high. Though there are no real figures or way of measuring trafficking, there are an estimated 2 million children trafficked worldwide, and that's only the documentable amount. There are likely much more children, but it's unfortunately unknown due to the criminal nature of trafficking. And those numbers have only been rising exponentially lately. This is the ugly consequence of Hollywood sexualizing children and society normalizing child sexualization in the media. There's a sort of callousness to child endangerment. We all see it, but how many people are actually doing anything about it? If we let our guard down, if we grow numb, if we become lax about child endangerment to very obviously nefarious evil, our children will suffer. The media encourages girls to take testosterone and for boys to take estrogen. Adults are chemically altering their bodies into an unnatural and sick state. And now a new trend is child celebrities are groomed into normalizing the idea of gender transitioning. And I don't care about your political stance. The reality is, this is child mutilation. They are cutting away their natural body because it's a hot trend. And they claim to be happy, but the trans suicide statistics say otherwise. The media glamorizes the trans kid lifestyle, but they're really just predators harming children. Let me describe the process to you and tell me I'm a bigot. They first manipulate children by introducing them to sexual fetishes. They then coerce them into gender politics, which later convinces them to receive chemical treatment that alters their body. After poisoning them and mentally conditioning them, they may lead up to genital mutilation. And then they throw them on a stage in front of cameras, dancing around with naked adults, broadcasted online for millions of people to see and encourage. If being disgusted about all of this makes me a hateful bigot, then I am proud to be a hateful bigot. It's time to replace our fear with courage so we could save our fucking kids. Let's go kill some pedos. Getting the creeps being here. If this doesn't go well, I'm gonna bite my tongue off and commit suicide. Do you think if they realize what I'm up to, they'll make me next year's sacrifice? I'll look like one of those sad grocery store rotisserie chickens. My skin will be like boiling while they're doing a tap number for their musical theater. If they cannibalize me, what would be the side dish? I hope it's not one of those too sour macaroni salads. That would be more disrespectful than the burning me alive death. Potatoes would be nice, but they're so robust. I feel like that's some kind of mean-spirited commentary about my weight. This is a waste of time. Focus. There it is. I have to keep my eye on that thing until they start doing the ritual. Hey you, nice to meet you, the mayor. Do you know where they got that sacrifice anyway?
He's the kid of the man who refused to offer us his wife during last year's holiday orgy.
Oh, so he's a real bad guy. I'm just gonna make my way over there inconspicuously.
Now, without further ado, we commence our sacrifice.
You fools! This is not the sacrifice I require!
What happened? How did we upset you, my lord?
Hear that? Let's get the fuck out of here. It's kind of strange to call myself an adult because I never felt like the conventional adult I grew up watching. I'm not a homeowner. I still wear hoodies and have stuffed animals. I feel like I still haven't got my shit together. And I'm starting to think that that venture is a myth. However, I'm not a kid anymore. My generation felt like they could somehow be eternally young. But the reality is, we all grow up. And you and I may not be the best adults, but we're all the next batch of youth has. We are the responsible adults in our children's lives. And maybe our parents and their parents didn't know what they were doing either, but somehow they built our childhood. They used their imaginations and exhausted their energy inventing that for us. I loved children's books and the playgrounds at McDonald's. I'm so grateful for the people that were considering me before I was even born. And life is designed so bittersweet because now they've passed that torch down to us. So maybe we are a little more messy than our parents, but they didn't face the shit that we have to see. With the internet, we fought against all kinds of calculated evil. At too young an age, we saw porn everywhere. Hell, we have to actively combat abominations every hour. It's like once a week that I read that a chemical in a snack that I eat like every day has a poison that gives you cancer. The older generations sometimes mock us and call us weak, but they never experienced the psychological warfare in their adolescence like we did. You can see an unwellness in my generation. Every other person has some sort of mental problem. What guy doesn't have depression? What girl doesn't have BPD? Walking on the streets of any city is like walking through a psych ward, but it's happened for a reason. It's easy to laugh at the degenerate watching porn all day, not getting a job. And don't get me wrong, we should bully those retards until they get better, but it's shallow to write them off as simply a shit person. There's an underlying problem in the way our system functions, and no one is doing anything to help it or heal it. I don't usually share a lot about myself online. Not me the character, Lotus, but me the human. I only say this because I hope that it resonates with some of you, but I don't always feel my best either. I haven't posted a video here in a couple of years for that reason. Being online drags me down, and I was already feeling down. Life is hard, and I'm naturally inclined to be a negative person, but I don't like negativity or feeling sorry for myself, so I try very hard to be positive. It's not natural for me to be hopeful or motivated or optimistic, so I have to manually make myself think and do good. And if you're not convinced, there really is hope. Because over the years, I have gotten more positive. The world kicks me down, but I keep smiling. And I believe our approach to adulthood needs to be the same way. You may feel like you're weak, that you're not responsible enough or smart enough, but there's an entire generation of youth depending on you to build their future. If you think you're irresponsible, think of children. They're not gonna raise themselves. There's vulnerable, fragile minds waiting for someone to feed into them. And there's monsters on the prowl wanting to get there before us. If we let them, they'll destroy their hope and innocence. Don't just think of your babies. Think of your babies' babies. There's generations of promising humans who haven't even been born yet. Don't let them fall into hellfire before they even get a chance. It's such a narcissistic society that we tend to lack foresight for others. Maybe as an adult, some people want to watch porn, but has anyone considered the long-term damage it will do to children if they're exposed to it while their mind is still developing? It's not just locked away in the adult section of a shop anymore. It's no longer hidden behind private websites. Now, there's no escaping it. Our music is disgusting, our art is polluted, and our standards are nothing. Today's world is not a healthy, happy, safe place for children to grow up. You see the advanced sickness in our world right now. Could you imagine how far it will escalate in just a few years? It's time for us to grow up. It's time for boys to become men. No more can we sit around feeling sorry for ourselves. I don't have fucking time to be depressed. There's people mass suffering. It's time to get strong. It's time to rise up. We can make this a great society. We can make the world beautiful. Too many are stuck in the past, fixated on the way things were. Make it great again. But I'm thinking forward because we can make it better than it ever was. We have a superpower they didn't have back then. We have wisdom. We've grappled with death and won the fight. We looked wickedness right in the eye and refused to give up. We may have been damaged, but our scars are a testament to our endurance. Some of you put yourselves down too much, but actively live through physical poisoning and psychological warfare like no other in the history of mankind. If you're here right now, you deserve to be proud of yourself. Only because we've been through so much horseshit. We will understand our enemy when they attack. We will know how to navigate through hard times. We've already built that muscle. We've got that muscle memory. We can power through, and we won't just get through on our last leg, gasping for breath, but with strength. We can be the greatest adults yet. We'll have so much energy, it will be a blessing and pour over for generations to come. We can, and we will have victory. It is time to abolish mediocrity, to reject degeneracy and embrace our true destiny. We were born in such a time as this for a reason. We need to keep the children pure. We need to protect our kids. It's not an option, it's an obligation. I know it's very flowery of me, but I built this with my husband. It's pretty gay. I know this is like a thing that only a Pinterest mom would do, but I've made a paper lantern. I said I would not cry. I have failed. Whoopsies. Sometimes symbolically people light a lantern to mourn their loved ones who've passed away. I know it's not much, but my heart's in the right place. I thought it'd be nice to commemorate the children who've been harmed by adult violence. This is for all the nameless faces that didn't get a burial. For all the babies that weren't given the basic liberties of life, deprived of their joy and standard dignity. They deserved a childhood. They deserved to play in school. They deserved to eat cake on their wedding day. But it was all stripped away for someone else's greed. I will now release this lantern lest we forget their precious souls. I'm sorry we let you guys down. May God rest your soul in the next life.
This ain't about me, it's all in my head. I am thinking, it's all in my head. 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 It's all in my head.